Sonic Underground Episode 11. Who do you think you are? That's a very antagonistic title. We see a beautiful desert city with nice music where someone gets threatened by a bunch of robots even there, showing concretely that it's not just Robotropolis, but the whole world that's under Eggman's control. He hides from robots while holding something, and some robots go away because he was hiding between buildings. It's cool that they have jet boots. Sonia doesn't want to get dirty by sponging off something. I think her hand might get dirty because she's holding the sponge, but other than that, Sonic uses a second's worth of super speed to clean something, and Sonia uses a mud smearing on her face to get a smoother face, with Sonic lampshading that she likes this particular mud. Manic has a paper and says that beneath the palace, the catacombs might have Alina's journal. An important political figure having a diary? That's just begging for trouble. That's a disaster waiting to happen. I guess the diary will be the explanation for how they'll know where she'll be in the next episode where they're wasting time looking for her. Sonia wants to wait until the villains leave, and Sonic wants some excitement. Sleet wants to get tribute from people using robots, and Sonia tells Sonic that they need a plan to get to the palace without being spotted. Manic votes to go to the sewers, and Sonia suggests a disguise so she can avoid the sewers. Fuck you! Stupid disguises! At least she does put something around her head to kind of disguise herself because she's hiding her hair and you can't tell it's the same hairstyle. It's less annoying to have characters other than Sonic in a disguise because they'd be less immediately recognizable to everyone on the face of the earth than a blue hedgehog. And she walks away saying that Sonic can do it his way and she'll do it hers. So only she's using a disguise. The guy from earlier smacked something made of metal and he's wanted for destruction of surveillance bots. Wouldn't it be... Well, I guess surveillance cameras can't... Well, if they're flying, then you wouldn't need surveillance bots. Surveillance cameras wouldn't really need AI. Well, I guess they would be able to fly around and not run into walls. Dingo is unusually eager to roboticize people. Why? This would make sense if he was roboticized and he wasn't thinking straight. He's turned into some floating thing that could lead the bounty hunters to the rebel. Then we see Sonia walking around a bazaar with some nice music playing.
As my children learned about each other, they also learned from each other. And sometimes the road to learning took them to faraway places.
She sees and fortunately recognizes Dingo and keeps looking away to make him think that she's not Sonia because she doesn't recognize him, until the bot gets smacked by the rebel. Some robots threaten Sonia, and I hope that it's because even they saw through her disguise. She shoots them with a laser, and Dingo acts infatuated with her all creepily. He's smacked into a wall by the rebel, and they get threatened by robots. He grabs Sonia's hand and runs away with her, stating the obvious, with her lampshading being called his friend that easily. Does she have a crush on him? Like the way she's talking. They get snuck up on by robots, and Sonia throws a robot with super strength by herself. I thought it was Manic who would have the super strength. She spins in a pink tornado to knock robots into a wall. So the robots don't have to be capable of being totally destroyed. She could still be useful even that way. And they're knocked out, so they might as well be destroyed, I guess. Yeah, these robots are kind of a wuss.
Sonia, shut!
Why is Sonic calling her Sonia and not Sonia? Sonia sounds better. Maybe I've been mispronouncing it all this time, but Sonia just sounds a whole lot better, and that's the way I remember hearing other people say it. Sonia is told to go into a hole leading to the sewers as Sonic keeps calling out for her, and Sonia somehow doesn't recognize Sonic's voice immediately. Sonia is brought to the guy's family, saying out of nowhere that she may have lost her memory. What the fuck? How did she lose her memory? It's a great idea, but still, what? Did she get knocked around? And they arbitrarily decided that this damage was enough to give her amnesia, when she gets knocked around all the time. I think, I don't know, not an expert on amnesia, but I think you would at least recognize her name, like you'd find it familiar, and she would stop and think, that name sounds familiar, maybe I should go see what that person is yelling about. Anyways, she meets his grandma, and uses pottery clay to try to make a facial for herself. Then she doesn't like their food, still being herself. She also looks at her medallion, confusingly not knowing what it is. I don't remember seeing her get hit in the head. She didn't seem to get hurt any more than she normally does. She just fought with some robots. The guy walks around outside with her and tells her to cover her face because that's a custom. And he unintentionally reminds her of someone when he says that he's a boy and stuff.
Besides, I am so quick they will never catch me.
The guy tries to get money for clay jars, and Sonia wants to buy stuff when she has no money. So why did she try to buy stuff? Wouldn't the guy have told her that she has no money with her? Out of nowhere, her headdress falls off, and reality ensues. No, not in the fact that she would get in trouble for her headdress falling off. Instead, reality ensues because she agrees to trade away her medallion because she doesn't know what it is anymore. Manic didn't recognize her because she had her back to him and her pink hair was covered. I guess there would be plenty of pink hedgehogs in this world. I mean, after all, we do have Amy Rose, so she's a pink hedgehog. But yeah, she has to cover her face. It's good to show that's a different culture, a different part of the world, and yet Robotnik still rules it. So Robotnik rules the whole world, and not just Robotropolis. Manic suggests to Sonic that they should play a song so Sonia could hear it and find them. And apparently, the guy Sonia was with was singing mediocrely during the song when he wasn't playing instruments in it at all. And Sonia takes off her headdress and the crowd cheers. Okay then. Maybe they don't really care that much about having the custom followed then. I guess the song... Did the song magically return her memory? She pulls a rope to send some cover over some robots. She gets covered in some icky stuff, and Manic is confused about why she isn't angry. Yeah, that makes no sense at all! Especially since she didn't like the food that was being served to her. Like, so she was being supposedly prissy and rich girl in that sense. But in this sense, she's fine with something that I think everybody would be disgusted with. She slips and smacks her head on something, asks who the guy is, and just now she remembers who she is, and yet doesn't know that she sold her medallion. I'm pretty sure that's not how amnesia works. I doubt you forget what happened when you had amnesia. And again, she had an out-of-character moment with not minding that she got dirty. She gets kidnapped by a tractor beam really easily, and Sleep tells Dingo to guard the sewers, transforming him and kicking him into the mud. The guy has a good remark saying to Sleep that that's where he belongs.
Oh! That is where you belong!
Sonic complains about the smell of the sewers, and Manic expects me to believe it's not so bad once you get used to it. Sonic says he hates water. Manic, I like that they take every opportunity to characterize these characters. Manic uses a flashlight, and they see Dingo rise from the mud and splash them. They jump out of the mud thanks to Sonic, and Sonic asks Manic for a disguise. At least there's a jump cut, so I can assume Sonic ran into a building to steal clothes at super speed, rather than them running off screen and coming back. But it's stupid of Slate to get fooled by them disguised as ladies. Sonic is clearly blue, and there's no implication that there are other blue hedgehogs in the world. At least they're wearing long wigs to hide their hair better, so they're hiding potentially even the fact that they're hedgehogs. So, like, they're shaped differently. Okay. Sonia is told that it's an old lock on the cell, so she kicks the cell down and escapes really easily by herself. That's badass of her, at least. Manic presses buttons to see the entrance to the catacombs, as Sonic is really weird by imitating a dancer as a girl. So, well, I was going to say this is the kind of thing people would laugh at the show for, but I only ever hear about the show when people are bitching about the songs. So I don't think people even know what the plots are like. Sonia sees her mother, her guy friend gets grabbed and sent to the mud, and she finds a map that's there for some reason. Dingo's nice enough to stand up with him, but oh, he does go back into the mud with him. He just went over to taunt her then. She's especially heroic here because she forces herself to go into the mud despite hating it. Shouldn't Sleet realize that Manic is a guy imitating a girl's voice? Wouldn't he be disturbed by this? Did he order girls dressed up like this to come to him? And that's why he wasn't questioning that they showed up and acting this way? Was he expecting them? Manic finds the medallion near Sleet, and Sonic spin dash tornadoes to send Sleet into the ceiling. I think Sleet should be a robot, because then he'd be able to fire lasers, though Sonic could still spin dash at him. Sonia finds her brothers, and the guy is put into a roboticizer. Sleet lampshades his cliche line about how he'll never stop the heroes. The indicator on the roboticizer shows that the legs of the person are green, so shouldn't he be a cyborg when he gets out of there? Then it could be a freedom fighter. Sleet leaves, and Sonic runs around in a circle around the roboticizer to magically make it blow up out of pity. I love that he actually was a cyborg after that. That's awesome! And he jumps in a pretty cool way.
Perhaps they have done me a favor.
All right, Ruffy.
Then he shows appreciation for the cyborgness, being smarter than Bunny. Not like that's hard. Too bad the concept of him being a cyborg will probably be totally wasted because he'll just live his life without noticeably freedom fighting. I mean, it was stated that he's a resistance member and he was wanted for destroying a surveillance bot, but I mean that he's never going to do anything remotely significant to take down Eggman and will probably disappear forever. So why give him Bunny's legs then? It's so frustrating because this is exactly what should have happened to Antoine, a character that matters. So the episode title was a pun on someone not knowing who they were. Sonia must have lost her memory in a blinker you'll miss it moment, because it came completely out of nowhere to me. I love the concept, but it honestly feels like it could have not been the story, and well, she did sell her medallion because of the amnesia, and that required the other heroes to dress up like girls to trick Sleet to get the medallion. That was all it amounted to. Maybe he intimidated the shopkeeper into giving the medallion to him. Anyways, Sonia having amnesia didn't add much to the plot. She still trashed some robots with her special powers. She had an out-of-character moment where she didn't mind being dirty, and she forgot what happened when she had amnesia. But I did enjoy seeing her spend time with that guy. What I loved most about this episode was that it took place in an Arabic setting, or whatever. I just loved the whole feel of the desert town, with the uniquely shaped buildings and the music, and the way Sonia looked when she had her headdress on. Well, I think it's called something else, burqa. It's just phenomenal to show a place other than Robotropolis with robots in it, to really show off that Robotnik is ruling the whole world, not just Robotropolis, which Sadia didn't really do. And it has to be the whole world, because otherwise I question why everyone who's not roboticized in that city doesn't just move, and it'd have to be established that there are walls around the city, like maybe an electrified force field, and reinforced concrete floor to explain why no free will people escape. Robotnik ruling one city would make a little more sense because he'd have to have a ridiculously huge amount of robots to maintain control over the whole planet, let alone a whole country. And that would take a long time to make, but I guess he built a lot of swap-out factories to reach this point. Adventures of Sonic, Robotnik still made thousands of minor robots, and he was in a much lower position to start with. Anyways, I liked this episode. I feel like Sonia could have had a crush on the guy she was with, which had foreshadowing when she met him, and it could have become her cyborg boyfriend for the rest of the show. But since she already has super strength, what would his cyborgness add? Would it really matter if we had an extra character who's a cyborg? Well, the fact that he'd have sweet moments with her all the time by kissing her and hugging her, that would be more than worth it. It's like Antoine and Bunny became better characters than Archie because they started having sweet moments together. So while Antoine is useless, he ended up contributing because of that. But no, status quo. It has to be just about the three hedgehogs, when Sadia had a larger cast. And they could have developed the guy's character more to make him interesting enough to actually earn me knowing his name.
Better cover your face. It is the custom here and the bots will notice.
What about you?
I am a boy.
See, he can have flaws like this, which already makes him a deeper character than he could be. And it could make him have a dynamic with Sonia where he's still getting used to and learning to appreciate the fact that she's a modern action girl and he's from a different society.